Hey guys, today's story is about a player that does nothing to help the party, and then wonders why he gets left behind. This happened the first session of a game I started. The game itself was Force and Destiny, the FFRPG Star Wars game that focuses on Force-sensitive characters and how they can grow and develop in the shadow of the Galactic Empire. Typically between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, time-wise. My game was set shortly before the Battle of Yavin, where the first Death Star was destroyed. Character creation was pretty open-ended. The only guideline was that we'd be starting out as prisoners at an Imperial work camp. So they needed to come up with a backstory that would explain why they would be prisoners. They said they could work with that. All except one. Todd. Todd didn't like the idea of having to be a slave, nor did he like the idea of being a prisoner of war. He came up with the idea of being a guard, part of the Imperial Army tasked with watching over the camp. I asked him how a Force-sensitive would have been able to reach any position of importance in the Empire, and he just hand-waved it by saying that Finn in the new trilogy was Force-sensitive and nobody noticed. I accepted that, but told him that he would likely not know he was Force-sensitive until things started happening in the game. He was okay with that. I assumed he would be willing to work with the rest of the party once they all got together. Todd did not do that. Right out of the gate, right after I get done explaining the frigid, icy region of the planet they inhabit, he starts behaving like Clancy Brown from the Shawshank Redemption. He stomps his way through the main mining floor, picks out an NPC prisoner that didn't get out of the way fast enough, and harasses them violently, and rips the heat pack from his suit. All the guards and prisoners wear thermal suits powered by these charged heat packs. Without them, they would freeze, and the only way for prisoners to get more is to be productive. So in essence, the first thing Todd did was sentence a random NPC to a slow, miserable death. When I tell the other PCs where they are in the mine and give them their current scenario, they begin talking in character. After a minute, in comes Todd, blustering about, "Get back to work," and "Who's talking?" and gives one of them a wallop from his truncheon. One of the other PCs considered braining him with a pickaxe, but he's a good player, so he doesn't commit Session 1 team killing. The prisoner PCs continue digging, overseen by Todd, and find their group resource, an old Jedi holocron, that activates and does some psychic nonsense that shows them a path through the stars while also informing them of their sensitivity to the Force. And this connection, they all share. They start having a conversation about it, realizing they might have a legitimate destiny ahead of them. One of the cooler-headed characters recommends sleeping on it, and since it was nearing the end of the shift, they decide to sleep on it. All except Todd. Todd immediately decides to go to his superiors and report that one of the prisoners found a piece of contraband in the ice and refused to turn it in to him. I stared at him baffled, and asked him why he was selling out the other PCs. He does the classic move and says, "It's what my character would do." Smash cut to a late-night raid of the prisoners' quarters. The guards burst in, rouse everyone up, and start tossing beds and get everyone lined up against a wall. The PCs get singled out due to Todd's tip and start getting escorted outside to be executed. One of them makes a move, a brief fight ensues, and they manage to take down the pair of guards taking them out. One of them is able to use his powers to disable the personal lock on the guards' weapons, so now they're armed. They rush back in, take out the other guards raiding the quarters, and arm a few more NPCs for an impromptu uprising. And where was Todd during this? Well, away from the action. He seemed content to wait in the guardhouse with a sergeant while the raid went down. It was only when the player-led uprising reached the guardhouse did he start to act. His actions were mostly hiding and ordering the surrender of NPC prisoners. To his credit, he didn't actually attack his fellow players, so I'll give the guy that. With the players doing a lot of the legwork and rolling well, the guards are going down left and right, and the prisoners rolling over them. The prisoners and players push to the top of the landing pad on top of the guardhouse with the intention of stealing a vessel to escape in. As they're making ready to take off, Todd says,
"Alright, I guess if you guys are going to hijack the plot, I'll get on the ship."
I'm confused for a second before one of the other players responds.
"I get in the way and block his path from getting on the ship."
I tell Todd what he's saying, and Todd looks surprised.
"What are you doing? Are we getting out of here?"
"Yeah, we're getting out of here. You can stay." Todd jumped to his feet.
"What? Why?"
"Why wouldn't we? You're not one of us. You beat the crap out of us, killed a guy for getting in your way, and sent a raid to execute us. You're not a companion of ours, you're just some jerk." Todd glared and said the phrase that never helps.
"I'm just playing my character."
The rest of the party shrugged, and said, "So are we." Todd makes a few more protests. He mentions the destiny the Helicron laid out for them, but they aren't having word of it. When the door of the craft is closing, he makes one last push to force his way in. That does not go well, and the ship goes flying off to warmer climates. Todd puts on a salty look and says to me,
"Well, I guess I'll just have to hunt them down once I'm out of here."
I nodded at him. "I suppose that's possible, but what are you going to do about the riot, though?"
"What riot?"
He'd completely forgotten about the prison riot destroying the facility. He tried to sneak downstairs, but had no ranks in that skill. He got notice in short order, engaged in a combat with the prisoners, got the tar kicked out of him. The scene ended with them hurling him from the roof of the tower to his death. And that's pretty much where session 1 ended. It was a few more sessions before Todd was willing to remake, and I was kind enough to let him come in at the same XP as the rest of the party. The rest of the game he was fine, but I'll always be a little baffled by his decision to play a cruel prison guard and expect his victims to be hunky-dory with him. Well guys, I have to say that this was an opportunity lost. There could have been a rather interesting story if he actually played his character in a way that would have actually made sense for him to actually have been part of the party rather than some random NPC. He could have had the raid on the prisoner's room and turned that into an opportunity to start arming the prisoners or some such. Maybe he could have thrown an extra pistol to one of the prisoners while he shot one of the other guards or something as such. Maybe he could have told the prisoners before they came there of what was about to happen and what his plan was. There was any multitude of ways that this guy could have still have been a guard and made it work, and him eventually siding with the prisoners and the party. But instead, he decided to just be a random NPC effectively and be a jerk, and then wonder why he got left behind. So yeah, I think this was an opportunity wasted, but it seems like he kind of calmed down once he remade a character. But in any case, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.